Hi everybody. Today I'm going to provide you the update for my stocks and unit trust portfolio as of end of October, and also provide you an update on the fund switches that I've done for my unit trust portfolio. For the month of October, there is no transaction for my stocks portfolio, which I never do any buy or sell transactions. And this is the holdings for the 11 Singapore stocks. None of them is more than 4%. The highest one is Parkway Life, which is 3.88%, while the one with the lowest holding is Fraser Centrepoint, which have a holding of 1.64%. And the total holding for the Singapore stocks is 31.84%. This is a Singapore and US stocks portfolio where I kept individual country holding as 50%. So that means there is still room for me to further invest in Singapore stocks. For the US stocks, currently there are 12 holding, and the one with the highest holding is Nike, which have 4.48%. Followed by Disney 4.1%. The one with the lowest holding with the newest edition, which I bought it in September, is VG Property, which have a holding of 1.69%. Currently, the US stocks encompass about 39.41% of the total portfolio. And I still have a cash of 28.75% for me to deploy into the market. For the month of October, actually, the portfolio have experienced a dip in return where you can see from the arrow, but nevertheless, it's still on a growing uptrend. For the dividend collected, so far, you have approaching 3,005 since inception. As we can see that the dividend collected have been increasing over time. One of the key reasons is there's more and more capital injected into the portfolio to buy into companies that pay dividends. This is my unit trust portfolio, where 65% of the fund will be still on equities. And this is a new fund called Fidelity Global Technology, and it has slightly close to 5% holding for the portfolio. I elaborate more on this fund shortly. The portfolio performance has been steadily increased for this year, and hope that you were able to continue for the next 2 months for 2024. Okay, now let's look at what I have done for the month of October on the portfolio. Is that I have switched out Threadneedle Global Technologies. It is the fund that I would prefer to hold on for longer term. But unfortunately, the fund house have decided to really recognize this fund in Singapore, which means that retail investors can no longer invest in this fund going forward. And thus, I have no choice but to exit this fund, and I need to find a replacement for the global technology. And thus, I decided to switch into Fidelity Global Tech. I'll explain more why I chose Fidelity Global Tech over other technology funds later on. But I didn't switch 100% of it into Fidelity Global Tech. And I look at the current market situation, which is a bit toppish. So I actually switched in only 50% of the Threadneedle Global Tech into Fidelity Global Tech. And the other 50% I put in Nikko AM short-term bond fund, which more like a parking fund where I can deploy anytime back to the market when there's opportunities arise. So what is Fidelity Global Technology Fund? It is a fund that invests in equities of companies throughout the world, including emerging markets. Some of the global fund only invest in developed country. And why I chose Fidelity Global Technology? Because it invests in emerging market. Emerging market, that means it will include China, where I'll talk more about that. And it also don't really purely invest in full technology fund. We'll share more about that later. And you have a fund size of 22 billions, which is a fund of significant size. And currently you have 99 holdings for the funds. Let's look at the fund performance. One thing not that ideal for this fund, it was not able to constantly outperform the market. I based on SGD term because I'm investing in SGD. We can see that it actually underperformed the market. When it comes to unit trust investment, usually I prefer a fund that actually outperform the market. But after looking through all the technology fund available for investment, I decided to choose this. I still decided to choose this fund. And one of the key reasons is when I look at the volatility of this fund, it is actually lower than the index. Okay, I prefer fund with a lower volatility, especially on equities fund. We want it to have a lower volatility. And you have the beta of 0.72, which is lower than the market. The sub ratio is slightly less than the index, 0.5 and 0.62. However, when I look at the drawdown, when a market correction, for example, at 2000 and 2022, we know that at 2022, equity and bond fund are not performing well. On top of looking at returns, we also need to look at the drawdown side. So where the market actually have down 31.4%, this fund actually down only 24%. So this fund, although when on the upside, it can perform better than the market, but on the downside, because of the low volatility and low beta, actually it have dropped lesser in that sense. So a lot of people only looking at the gain side, but they have forgot what about when there's a market drawdown, are they able to take the market shock? So this is why I look for Fidelity Global Technology because of low volatility and lower drawdowns compared to the market. This is the holding for the fund. This fund is a bit unique. It deviates quite a fair bit from the index, where most of the technology funds are mainly focused on the US. But this fund is only have 57.5% on the US market. And it, as you mentioned, that it invests in emerging markets. So you have a exposure on China, to me, which is more of a tactical location where the index only have 0.7%. You have a 6.6% on China. At this juncture, I prefer to have some exposure on China tech sector. So this is why I choose Fidelity Technology Fund. And next is that on top of that, it also divests into communication services and also consumer discretionary. What does these two sectors in? Like communication services, it include Google. Google is classified under communication services, and then Alibaba is under consumer discretionary category sector. So this fund have exposure to this sector compared to the index is purely on information technology sector, which actually will have the Microsoft and Apple. But from you can see that actually they underweight Microsoft and Apple compared to the index because they have overweight the other all this company. Let's look at performance-wise for unit trust investment. Usually I don't look at a short-term 1 year time horizon. Usually I will look at a 3 to 5 year time horizon, which to me will be a more realistic time horizon to look at for unit trust investment. So I compare it with other global technology fund. I compare with another 7 global technology fund that is available for me to choose. From here, you can see the returns over a 3-year period and a 5-year period. Of course, over a 5-year period, Threadneedle Global Technology Fund have the best performance of 19.17% annualized return per year, and also have the second best performance over 3 years time horizon. But as I mentioned, unfortunately, I need to exit this fund, so I need to choose a replacement. And Fidelity Global Tech over the 5-year period, it actually is the second best performance, and over a 3-year period, actually is the best performance funds. On top of that, I look at the standard deviation, which is the volatility. They are the lowest among the other 7 global technology funds in the market for me to choose. And on top of that, it had the best Sharpe ratios on a 3-year, 5-year period compared to the rest. And in terms of drawdown side, it also have the least. And this is the reason why I decided to choose Fidelity Global Technology. Key reason is you have a good 3 to 5 year track records, and you have a lower volatility and lower drawdown compared to the other fund that are available in the market. And then now one of the key things that it had some exposure to China or in the emerging market, which I take it more of a tactical approach to it. I don't want to have a lot of exposure there, but I want to have some exposure there. And Fidelity Global Technology happen to fit into my criteria nicely. This is my target holding of my unit trust portfolio at this juncture, where I target to allocate 5% into Fidelity Global Technology. Initially, Threadneedle Global Tech have 10%. I actually take another 5% and put into Nikko short-term bond fund to make it 20%. And thus, my bond holding have 35% and my equity holding got 65%. So it's a 65% equity fund and 35% bond fund at this market juncture. I was looking for opportunity to reduce the bond holding, especially Nikko AM short-term fund going forward if there is an opportunity in the market towards the end of the year. Overall, based on past performance, these are all past data. Based on past performance, the 3-year volatility for this portfolio is 10% with a 3-year annualized return of 5.46% and a longer term 5 annualized return of 8.24%, which is my target of achieving a 7 to 9% annualized return over the long term period. And the maximum drawdown for the portfolio is 14.8%, which I think is pretty reasonable for an equity inclined portfolio. I'll provide a regular money update on my stocks and unit trust portfolio going forward on any changes or no changes and my view on the market going forward. That's all I have to share with you today. And you find that this video have benefit you, do remember to like, share, and comment on this video. I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.